Ian, you're muted.
New York State Department of Transportation and Acting Chair of PFAC. This meeting is being held virtually as a webinar as provided in Governor Cuomo's Executive Order number 202.91. The audience lines will remain muted throughout this meeting. The chat box is being monitored by NYMTC's staff representatives. Any comments that are typed in the chat pod that are relevant to transportation and planning will be reviewed and included in the meeting synopsis. During the public participation section of the agenda, registered participants will be unmuted individually. This webinar is being recorded and will be posted on NYMTC's website within 2 weeks of this meeting. At this time, I will begin the roll call. When I announce your agency, I ask each representative to state your name and whom you're representing. Firstly, there's New York City DOT.
Yogesh Sangvi, I represent New York City DOT.
Yeah. New York City Department of City Planning.
Hello, Ian. Jack Schmidt, representing City Planning Commission Chair Marisa Lago.
Thank you. MTA. Okay. Let's move on to Nassau County.
Hi, David Viana, representing Nassau County Executive Laura Curran.
Thank you. Suffolk County.
This is Chris Chatterton, representing County Executive Steve Ballone.
Thank you. Rockland County. Move on to Putnam County.
Pat Gurdon, representing Rockland County Exec Ed Day.
Thank you. FTA.
Hi, this is Dan Moser, FTA Region 2, representing Regional Administrator Stephen Goodman.
Thank you, Dan. FHWA.
Yes, this is Gautam Mani, representing Division Administrator Rick Markey.
Thank you. New Jersey Transit. NJTPA.
Hi, this is David Barron, Deputy Executive Director, representing our Executive Director, Mary Amin.
Thank you. US EPA.
Hannah Greenberg, EPA Region 2, representing Acting Regional Administrator Walter Mugden.
Thank you, Hannah. Port Authority. And New York State DEC. All right, thank you. By my count and under our operating procedures, we have a quorum for today's meeting.
This is Naomi Klein. This is Naomi Klein, representing County Executive George Latimer.
Oh, thank you, Naomi. We missed you earlier.
Yes, and I apologize. I didn't come off mute myself. This is Jay Sheffield,
okay.
The Port Authority of New York and New Jersey, representing Executive Director Rick Cotton.
Thank you, Jay. All right. Now, in addition to those, we do have, by my count, under operating procedures, we do have a quorum for today's meeting. So let's proceed to the presentations. We will now move to the presentation section of the agenda. Setu Allen of NYMTC staff will give you an overview of NYMTC's draft state fiscal year 2021 to 2022 Unified Planning Work Program. Please unmute Setu's microphone.
Hey, confirming that you can hear me.
You good?
I can hear you.
You can share your presentation to Setu.
Yep, doing that now.
Yes, we can see it. Thank you.
Perfect. Well, good morning, everyone, and thank you. This is just a brief presentation on the Unified Planning Work Program for state fiscal year 2021 through 2022. So as an agenda for this presentation, first we'll go over what is NYMTC, followed by NYMTC's shared goals, and then an overview of what the UPWP is, including what the UPWP is funding in terms of its core program, and also various special studies that are funded through this program. So first off, for people who might not be familiar, what is an MPO? Federal legislation requires the designation of an MPO for any urbanized area with a population of more than 50,000 people. And these MPOs, municipal planning organizations, they consist of local elected officials, transportation providers, and state transportation officials. And these MPOs are responsible for selecting projects and enabling the distribution of federal, state, and local funds for transportation improvement projects. So NYMTC's planning area covers a pretty broad area. It covers New York City, Long Island, Nassau County, Suffolk County, and also the lower Mid-Hudson South region, which includes Rockland County, Putnam County, and Westchester. And since NYMTC's planning area is pretty complicated, organizationally it's split up into 3 TCCs, or Technical Transportation Coordinating Committees, which allow the MPO to respond to local issues on a more local basis. So who is NYMTC? Well, NYMTC is comprised of voting council members and advisory council members. The voting council members include the county executives of Putnam County, Suffolk County, Nassau County, Westchester County, and Rockland County. It also includes the commissioners of City DOT, State DOT, the CEO and chairman of the Metropolitan Transportation Authority, and the chairperson of the New York City Department of City Planning. In addition, there are advisory council members, which include the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey, the New Jersey Transit, the North Jersey Transportation Planning Authority, which is the MPO that serves northern New Jersey, as well as the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation, and our federal partners, Federal Highway, Federal Transit, and the United States Environmental Protection Agency. So NYMTC's mission as the MPO for this area, for this planning region, is to serve as a collaborative forum to address transportation-related issues from a regional perspective. It also facilitates informed decision-making through providing sound technical analysis. It focuses the mission is to focus the collective planning activities of the council members to achieve a shared regional vision, and also ensure that the region is positioned to capture the maximum amounts of federal funds available to achieve the goals described in the Regional Transportation Plan. NYMTC's current Transportation Plan, Plan 2045, was adopted in June of 2017, and on the screen now are the 8 shared goals that guide that plan, as well as guide the development of this UPWP. So what is the Unified Planning Work Program? It is NYMTC's annual budget, and it describes how federal transportation planning funds will be used for transportation planning activities. And it also defines the planning priorities for the NYMTC planning area. For the 2021-2022 UPWP, the proposed program funding is about $43 million, of which 55% roughly is new funding from our federal partners at FTA, FHWA, as well as new local match or local contributions to that program. In addition, about 45% of the program is funding from prior program years, which often supports multi-year planning activities. So in terms of the funding allocation for the 2021-2022 UPWP, roughly 55% is going to fund NYMTC staff operations and activities. The rest is being passed through to the member agencies in the distributions you see on the screen before you. So what is this funding supporting? Well, first is the core program. And the core program, these are the UPWP funded planning activities that support the development of federally required products and analysis, within the context of national performance goals and NYMTC strategic framework. So this is a brief overview of the core planning process for NYMTC and MPOs in general. And starting with the Regional Transportation Plan, this is the plan that defines the long-range needs for the area, for the region. So NYMTC is currently working on its next Regional Transportation Plan, Plan 2050, which will be adopted in September of September of 2021. Typically, that is updated every 4 years. Then we have the Unified Planning Work Program, which defines improvement projects via some of the studies that are programmed within it. And this document, the annual budget, is updated on an annual basis. In addition, we have the Transportation Improvement Program, which defines schedule and funding for projects or activities. And the TIP is it documents upcoming transportation projects, multimodal projects, that will strengthen and enhance our bridges, highways, transit services, bikeways, and walkways. The current TIP covers federal fiscal years 2020 through 2024, and work may begin during this summer on the next TIP, the federal fiscal years 2023 through 2027 TIP, which would be adopted possibly by October 1st of 2022. In addition, every year NYMTC releases what is known as the annual listing of obligated projects, and that documents all projects for which federal funds were obligated. In other words, this is a formal commitment of funds to transportation improvement projects. After that, we have the congestion management process and regional analyses, regional emissions analyses. And big picture on this is an attempt to analyze the impacts of the projects and programs that are in the plan or the TIP, especially in terms of the impact on congestion throughout the region or air quality considerations. And finally, we have the project planning and implementation. That is when, well, projects are implemented. And then we continue through the cycle once again. So in terms of developing those core planning projects, there's a lot of supporting activities. And to give some summary of what will be occurring over the next program year, I'll start with the public information outreach and involvement. So for the next program year, NYMTC plans to adopt updates to its public involvement plan, its Title VI program, and its language access program. And these are all efforts that will ensure, or rather enhance, NYMTC's ability to ensure broad-based public participation in our planning process. In addition, NYMTC collects a lot of data, whether it's travel survey data or traffic counts, or similarly, there's the Hubbound report, which tracks the travel into the central business district of Manhattan. So there's a lot of collection along those lines each year. In terms of making that data available to the public, NYMTC makes a lot of visualizations available on its website, especially through a website, part of the website called the Transportation Information Gateway, which serves as a one-stop shop for transportation-related data and can provide some pretty awesome visualizations. Of course, there's a lot of effort to just maintain all the data that we have and integrate that data into various systems. And in addition to that data being just useful to have and informative, that data also supports many of our technical capacities and forecasting efforts. And I'll focus on two aspects of that, first being the New York Best Practice Model, NYBPM, and that is NYMTC's travel demand forecasting model. NYMTC recently completed its BPM with a 2012 base year, and no rest for Lintis. We will be updating that model for a base year of 2019, starting pretty much now. In addition, NYMTC recently adopted socioeconomic and demographic forecast through calendar year 2055, and NYMTC is already beginning preliminary work on the next forecast effort, which will forecast through calendar year 2060. Continuing on, there's the member liaison aspects of the program. There are various committees and working groups. For example, the Forecasting Working Group, which works on socioeconomic and demographic forecast development. There's the Freight Working Group, which deals with freight issues, and also the Safety Advisory Working Group, in which NYMTC and its member agencies work consistently to ensure the overall safety of highway and transit systems. And similarly, just important, we have the organizational contracting and accounting that is done by NYMTC staff, which is also very important to the overall operations of the agency. So in addition to the core program, there's also various special studies. And these are discretionary planning priorities, which are outlined in Plan 2045 and funded through NYMTC's UPWP to help the member agencies address issues related to the planning activities identified in the plan, financing strategies, issues related to congestion, activities related to enhancing the performance of the transportation system, emerging transit technologies, and also community enhancement studies. So in the upcoming program, there are 40 studies. Some of them are new, some of them are multi-year studies that were programmed in prior years. Most are managed by NYMTC member agencies, but some are also managed by NYMTC staff. And just to summarize some of the themes that have emerged in this year's program, understandably, there's an interest to understand the impact of COVID-19 on the transportation system. So, for example, the MTA they're proposing a post-pandemic study, which will try to understand travel pattern shifts post-pandemic of residents in the MTA service region who travel into one of the 5 boroughs. We also have city planning, which is looking to identify areas of the city that are likely to have experienced or continue to experience the greatest disruption to pre-COVID travel patterns, or whose transportation network is insufficient to support existing or projected demand. The New York City Department of Transportation is going to be looking at the impact of long-term teleworking on vehicle miles traveled. And Westchester County will be looking at the impacts of COVID-19 on commuting patterns and transit ridership, both temporarily and longer term. We also have various data analysis projects. For example, city planning's harnessing new data and technology to better understand mobility, in which case city planning is proposing to use various data sources to undertake a series of analyses on current transportation to assess accessibility and mobility across the city using or across all modes of travel. We also have New York City's Mobility Report for 2022. This is an annual activity or an annual report on key agency performance metrics and citywide transportation indicators. And finally, not finally, but one of the other ones is the geospatial data purchase. And this is a collection of geospatial data by private sector entities from members of the public in terms of public members using smartphones, tablets, other mobility devices, and provides a pretty rich data set of travel behaviors based upon time of day, mode choice, and how people are traveling throughout the region. And I should emphasize that all of these data collection efforts, even though they're listed as special studies, they will certainly inform the development and products of the core program too. We also have various community planning workshops. Some will be done by NYMTC staff, and also Westchester County will be pursuing parking management and complete streets workshops during the upcoming program year. And then we have various sub-area studies. So for NYMTC staff will be looking at the Palisades Interstate Park Shared Use Feasibility Study. This will initiate a feasibility and conceptual design study of a shared use path within the Palisades Park right-of-way. Nassau County is looking at a Lido Beach multi-use trail planning study, and this, again, is a feasibility analysis and conceptual design for a multi-use trail along Lido Boulevard between Long Beach City Line and the Loop Parkway. And finally, on this category, we have the Southeast New York to Danbury, Connecticut link feasibility and planning study, and that is going to be looking at the feasibility of a rail link connecting the two cities in Southeast New York to Danbury, Connecticut. In addition, there is also the academic program. NYMTC each year is funding 4 students for planning projects, either with NYMTC staff or its member agencies. We usually get some really incredible students, and also I think the member agencies have benefited greatly for the work that they've received from the students selected for this program. Again, there's 40 studies in total. This was just a sample of the studies that are programmed for next year's UPWP, but it's a decent overview of what has been proposed for next year's program. And that is the conclusion of the overview of next year's UPWP. So unless there's any questions, thank you for your time. And also thank you to the staff, both the member agencies and NYMTC staff, who are the ones who are ultimately responsible for producing each year's work program.
Thank you, Setu. I'm having a problem with my video, but I also want to acknowledge that Julia Seltzer of MPA has joined this meeting. At this point, we've reached the public participation segment of the meeting. We've set aside 15 minutes of the agenda to hear from participants who have registered to speak with prepared remarks. We'll hear from these participants in the order they have registered for the duration of the allotted time. We ask that all participants limit your comments to relevant transportation and planning related items and to less than 3 minutes, so we can hear from as many speakers as possible in the allotted time. Our first speaker is Murray Bowden. Please unmute Murray Bowden.
I don't know, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Murray.
I've been unable to get on your WebEx thing, and I'm on my phone, so it's a little disorienting for me.
Okay, you can proceed. We can hear you clearly.
Give me a minute to do this, because I'm not used to it. I'm 87 years old, and I don't have the technology that you guys have. If you've been watching what's going on in the world today, we're living in a world that's different than it was 6 months ago, 3 months ago. Global warming changed. Am I still on? I get a beep beep. Look, all that you have been preparing for the last 20 years has to be reviewed again. The plans that you made 6 months ago probably are not valid today. The plans that you make today have to be based on global warming and the fact that we can't do things the way we did them for the last 50, 100 years. So this is only the beginning of it. I wish I could give you a better explanation. But all those plans that you made and it's just aren't relevant anymore. And how you unwind that and you make plans that are relevant with the resources available today, that's a whole different ballgame. Jerry's been getting copies of much of the things I've written, and I hope he can explain to you that the electric car will be here. General Motors committed that they're only going to make electric cars in the near future. If that isn't a wake-up call to you all, I don't know what is. This is not the same world as it was 6 months ago. You're going to have to dump all of those plans that you made and make new plans that are relevant to global warming. I can't do it. I'm 87. It's the younger generation. I couldn't get on this, and I've registered, and I did all of the things that were correct, only it didn't work for me. So this is a time for young kids, my grandson's generation, my grandchildren. Grandparents is the name of my email address to Zoom grandparents. Guys, this is the call that you have to review what you're doing. Electric buses are coming. The transition is here. I have no idea if you understand what I'm saying, but that's about as far as I can get today. Thank you.
Thank you, Murray. We appreciate your input. Andrea, are there any other registered speakers? Okay, Andrea sent a chat. There are no additional speakers.
No, there are not.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, so we have a few action items that we need to go over today. The first of which is the meeting synopsis. All the materials related to the actions has been posted on NYMTC's website at www.nymtc.org. First action item is to accept the December 11, 2020 meeting synopsis. I'm requesting all voting members to announce your name and the agency you represent when you make a motion or second a motion. May I have a motion to accept the December 11, 2020 meeting synopsis?
Yogesh Sanghvi, New York City DOT. So moved.
Thank you, Yogesh. Thank you, Yogesh. Is there a second?
Hi, David Viana from Nassau County, second.
Thank you, David. Is there any discussion? Okay, we will now vote by roll call, starting with the Lower Hudson Valley. Putnam County. I think we're having trouble with the mute button, so we'll go on to Rockland County.
Aye.
Westchester County.
Aye.
Okay. On Long Island, Nassau County.
Aye.
Suffolk County.
Aye.
In New York City, New York City DOT made the motion, so New York City DCP.
Aye.
MTA.
Aye. Aye.
I'll say aye for New York State DOT. Did Putnam County get it?
Aye. Putnam County.
Okay, thank you. All right, thank you. The motion passes. The next action item is to adopt resolution number 518, recommendation of the draft state fiscal year 2021 to 2022 United Planning Work Program, the one State 2 recently just described to us. Per NYMTC's Memorandum of Understanding and relevant operating procedures, PFAC has a responsibility of recommending the draft UPWP to the Council principals for adoption. Early in the meeting, we heard a presentation with detailed information about the draft UPWP. We will now move to vote. May I have a motion to adopt resolution number 518, recommendation of the draft state fiscal year 2021 to 2022 Unified Planning Work Program?
Ian, so moved. Smith, New York City Planning.
Thank you, Jack. Is there a second?
Second, Chris Chatterton, Suffolk County.
Thank you, Chris. Is there any discussion? Okay, we will vote by roll call, starting with the Lower Hudson Valley. Putnam County.
Aye.
Rockland County.
Aye.
Westchester County.
Aye.
Okay, on Long Island, Nassau County.
Aye.
Suffolk County.
Aye.
Okay, New York City, DOT.
Aye.
DCP.
Aye.
And finally, MTA.
Aye.
Okay, and I will say aye for New York State DOT. Thank you all. The motion passes. We'll now confirm the upcoming meetings. NYMTC will hold its council meeting on February 25th, 2021. This meeting will be virtual. Details will be announced very soon and will be available on NYMTC's website at www.nymtc.org. I'll also confirm the next PFAC meeting, which is scheduled for Thursday, March 18th, 2021. Details of this meeting will be available 2 weeks prior to the meeting date. To conclude today's meeting, I ask for a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Motion, Pat Gurdon, Rockland County.
Thank you, Pat. Is there a second?
Second, Jack Schmidt, New York City Planning.
Thank you. Does anyone object to this motion? Hearing none, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you to everyone and stay safe and well. Have a good day.